Yo, what the fuck is up? Good morning to all you motherfuckers out there on Twitch. Happy fucking Wednesday morning. Time I'm not normally on this bitch. So, what the fuck am I gonna do today? You may ask. Today, we're gonna fuck around with some game making engines and some non cloud implemented language learning models and some other code integration. We're going to try some new shit. And I'm going to take some fucking control of my life, which I haven't had in a while. And you guys are going to get front row seats to me fucking taking control of my fucking life. That's what's going on. If you didn't know who the fuck I was and you were looking at this motherfucking VOD later, this is bum number one. And you may know me from fucking a bunch of dumb art, starting with a TV show called Homeless in Denton, and a band named Beaver Machine, and it moved into a video game review series called The Smashed Update, a cooking show called Put It in Your Mouth, a band called Stone City Orchestra, and several other side projects, including what now is Dumpster Talk, a running series of Twitch talk shows that have been happening on Saturday night. That's not why I'm fucking here. Nasty Maddie, you fucking are in for the most boring stream of your life. Because today, I'm fucking taking control from these corporate fucks, and you're gonna watch this happen. This is gonna be a brand new fucking way we do things. And I've a specific plan to fuck with some systems today. So today we're going to be fucking with the Kestrel AI, or maybe a different version of that AI. We're going to install that natively here on this CPU. Yeah, I'm doing the thing. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing the thing. And we're also going to put Unity on here and figure out whether, I don't care whether, this does not need to be something I commit to today. I'm just fucking around. I want to see if I have a proof of concept that I can get done here. I have an idea, and I'm pretty sure I can make it work. If it works, that means that the rest of the idea will work. It's all hinging on one thing. And let me explain what the idea is. Okay. So we have language learning models. They're everywhere. You've got ChatGPT, you've got Grok. They're all over the place. They're AI. AI can help us do all kinds of things. I'm a programmer. That's what I do. It's my corporate job. I administer databases. I write Java code. I write ASPX code. I write C# code. This is what I do every day. I work in SQL databases. I write SQL code and queries constantly. It's all I ever do. It's extremely boring. It also makes a lot of money. These are things that make businesses really successful because they don't have to pour through millions of rows of shit to get the answers they want. So it's two different sides of the coin. These skills are really good to have. And my plan right now is to shift from doing that in a corporate setting and to start teaching it and to start building a game and to sell the game. So we're in a transition point right now, a very, very unstable transition point. I still have my corporate job. I am not quitting my corporate job today. It's not happening today. I am quitting that fucking job soon. It is not going to be, it's not going to be long. So before I make that decision, there are some things that I absolutely have to prove to myself before I'm going to do it, because I have a bunch of cash reserves, and those will only sustain for a couple of years before I will no longer be able to afford groceries and fucking things and to take care of my little girl and stuff. So I've got these reserves, and I've got time. I've got dev time that I could use to build a product and sell it, and then I can make a bunch of money. I could choose to keep doing this corporate thing for another 4 years and build those reserves higher and try to retire and just not work at all. Or I can lay out a proof of concept that works and actually show how I can get that completed within that time frame, fund myself, hire myself, don't Kickstart, none of that shit. Just I hire myself, I invest in myself, do it all on Twitch, show you guys how to code, show you how it all works, and just document the entire process of me escaping from this corporate hellscape. And it'll be like this thing after I'm dead, people can look, oh, before AI was serving everybody and all of our needs were met and everything that humans did, they're looking for fulfillment, right? That's what people will look for after their needs are met. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for fucking fulfillment. I want to make something cool, right? It's what I want to do. And Byte might get hired, but I have to be already I have to be published and making money to be hiring people. I'm not doing that. I have to, every year for me is another year I'm the employee. So if I took the 2 years and hired someone, I'd have me the absolute best employee, period. I know exactly what I want to do, and I'm good at everything. So that's what I want. I could have me for 2 years, which is the same amount of man hours, or I could have me for 1 year and someone else and get it done maybe faster, maybe. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. If I have a bunch of extra money and the idea is to upscale, I could do that. But fuck that. No. As a butler, it would be great to have a butler. And that's what I'm thinking he needs to be, actually. Nasty Matty. I think you got it right there. He will be the butler after the first game sells out. But yeah, so let me tell you what this roadmap is for today anyway. All right, what I'm going to try to get done today and what I'm going to get in the whole thing. You know, I want to get out of my corporate job. That is the number one thing that needs to happen. But to get there, I need to prove to myself that I can do some things. I want to make a game that does things that no other game is doing. And my proof of concept that I want to do is that, first of all, I want to get I want to make sure that I'm using AI inside the game that is extremely well developed and well curated by me. So I want to make AI that's customized for the game. I need that AI to never touch a cloud. That means I'm not going to go on the internet. I'm not going to pay for a subscription service, and neither is anyone else who ends up using the game. And the game is not going to require the internet. In fact, I don't plan on even doing netcode at all. I don't want to do netcode. I could. I might make it multiplayer later. If something hit happens, that's fine. That's not the plan. The plan is to stay off the cloud. I want this to not be expensive. We could make physical copies in the case of that. So that's the first thing. Is it's going to have this AI is going to be integrated into the game. It is going to interact through API calls with the game objects. And I am going to teach that AI as a language learning model. I'm going to teach it how to speak code specifically to my game interface, as opposed to teaching it how to speak English to people. But because it's an LLM, I'm also going to be able to take advantage of the fact that it does speak English to allow the fucking users to control it through the English language as well, to interact with it. I want to put it inside of objects. So what I'm going to try to proof a concept out that I can get done today, or whenever it gets done. It doesn't have to get done today. We're going to start today. We're going to get very far down the road. The road is going to be long. We're going to get real far down it. I want to get this Unity engine up and running, and I want to get some objects on a 2D plane, and I want those objects to have characteristics and properties. They're classes. I want them to have functions within them and things. And those objects also need to contain an AI that I am going to put on my whatever drive this is. The R drive. I'm going to put this thing on the R drive, and I am going to integrate it into this game and make it so that the objects, and this is the goal, I'm going to use either a text command or a verbal command. I'm going to tell the object, like a circle, to go to another object and attach itself to it and to bring it back somewhere. That is my goal. It is very simple. It's super, super simple first goal. But I don't want it to happen because of keyboard inputs. I want it to happen because the AI used the API to talk to this fucking game engine and to control these objects. DCastle, thank you for watching the Smashed Update. You guys, You saw that. That turned into a motherfucking language teaching course. I forgot about Nama Sensei. I did this. I've already taught you guys how to do one thing. And I lived it. I lived and worked in Japan. I also became a fucking computer developer that makes a bunch of money making business money. I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it. The corporate environment now is super toxic. Everybody's just at each other's throats. It's disgusting. It really does make me want to throw up. It makes me want to do this. It makes me want to get out. Like now. But I'm not getting out now. That's what I want. It's like bit chompingly shitty right now. So here I am, not working, doing this. Taking PTO to get the fuck out. Because that's what I'm going to do. Getting the fuck out. You're all coming with me as well. I'm going to do every fucking bit of this game development I do. I plan on doing it while I'm streaming. I might as well. It's free. Doesn't cost me any money to fucking show you me making this game. I could fail spectacularly. The worst it could do is get me some views. Ooh, that's not a problem. So that's what's going to happen too. I'm taking a page out of Pirate Software's book. He does it a little differently. He's working on his game too. It's already partially published. I don't plan on doing that early access thing, but don't put those words in my mouth. It's just a plan. But he's out there doing somewhat development, but he got so famous from doing this development that he's gotten lazy, and now he's playing MMOs and having fun with his friends. And I mean, good on you. You're a success. That's what you can do. I don't criticize. I ain't throwing shade. I think fucking Pirate Software is the shit. But he kind of quit making his game, or at least quit making it with intensity. And I need to make this with some intensity at this point, or I'm gonna fail. I'm not gonna be able to quit my job. I need to be able to do that. I gotta be able to quit that fucking thing. And when I quit that fucking job, I'm gonna be here doing this while my daughter's at school. So it'll be a different time, and I'll still do my Saturday show where we fuck around and find out. So that's what it is. And so you're gonna see all this shit. It's gonna be way too much, and it's not gonna be structured. There's gonna be structured content too. I plan on putting YouTube shorts out like fucking Thor once I quit my job. The shorts will start coming out. And then also I'm going to do the coding concept series where I teach all these languages I know fundamentally, like Nama Sensei did. These are going to be on YouTube. But it's all part of this business model that I've made up in my head for the last 2 years every night before I go to bed. I think about this shit. It keeps me up. It's crazy. And maybe I will. I'll be the next motherfucking Jeremy Thorne. And that's what you're going to see. You're going to see games that just interact with you in ways you've never seen before. And people are going to copy it. And it's okay. It's okay if people copy it. I don't care. The experience I'm going to drive is going to take so long to create that if anyone tries to do the same thing, it's going to take them just as long to do it. And they probably won't do it as well. They certainly won't have the following behind them. And like the story writing skills and the other things. I'm going to teach this AI how to be good at what it does. It's going to be taught by me, not by billions of people. I'm going to teach it. So you're getting me as an AI, essentially, in my plan, stuck in these games. I also have a game concept that's totally attached to AI that I can use. I might use the AI with it because it could make the library interfaces more cool. But it's a simple mobile game that is it's a word game for mobile. So I'm also going to make that and try to put that on the App Store so that I can maybe get some supplemental income going as well. As soon as some of this income, or any of it, can even halfway eclipse my real income, I'm fucking out of there. And I'm not going to do it pretty either. It'll be one of those ones where it's like, oh, that was a legendary way to leave your job and show everyone all of the corruption right when you go. Just fucking let all that corruption hang right out so that everyone could see it, and then just be like, I don't work there anymore. That's gonna be the way I roll. No poop on the boss's desk. I have a nice boss, actually. I have a good boss. There are a lot of good people in the company I work in, but it's a big company. I can't talk shade, tell you what it is or nothing. But I've worked for many big companies, and none of them weren't corrupt. So Nova was the most corrupt company I've ever worked for. It was in Japan, and they stole people's salaries and all kinds of other things. But Corruption is part of American business. And if you didn't know that, wake up. I'm telling you, it is. You just don't see it. They don't tell you about it in schools, so it's very easy to think, oh, most people follow the rules and people go to jail when that happens. No, most of the time people don't go to jail. It's a lot like driving 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. Kind of everybody does it, and some people get in trouble if they go too far. That's really what the fuck. Easy pass. Oh my god, I'm sure that the corruption is rank. I don't know how far it goes, if it's just expensed items that are misclassified or accounting trails that end nowhere, or whether or not it's people not following chain commands or like under the table deals. Like it's just the things I've seen in all the companies I've worked for. I can't just say that the one I am now is this. It's everything I've worked for, from stealing the actual salaries of the English teachers working at Nova, and then like having a sex dungeon in your office, which is what happened in Japan when I worked for Nova, which was an English language teaching school. You can look that stuff up on the internet. Like that fucking company went under because of corruption. And I worked for the school board. Yeah, they're corrupt too. I had some incidents that were unreally bad that happened in the BOE that dealt with corruption, specifically with teachers having inappropriate relationships with students. Not me in the least. That shit sucked. But anyway, corporate life is horse shit. Whether you work at 7-Eleven, whether you work at fucking like Amazon, like the biggest companies in the world, it all sucks. It sucks no matter how you slice it, unless you're in charge. If you're in charge, or if it's a small business that you love someone in, they're your best friend, or if you're partners or something, fucking A, let's go. And these people are idiots. They have these supply chains, and they have all of these dependencies, and all these foreign countries, and all of these problems. They are building physical products, and their profit margins are small. They're stupid. They should get into a better business. The business I'm about to get into, guess what the fucking profit margin is? It's 100% minus publication. If I do my own publication, I get to keep all the money from this fucking game. Every fucking dollar. So if I have to pay some to Unity, I gotta pay some to Unity. If I choose this engine, this is proof of concept today. I'm not necessarily gonna even contract with Unity. I just wanna see if I can pull this off. I've done so much for businesses. It's time I do something for my motherfucking self, you know? It's fucking time. But anyway, while I rant, let's fucking do all these computer weights. There's gonna be a bunch of computer weights, and I might as well fucking get them started. I have to get this AI downloaded and installed and start training it and figuring out what this API is. We have to learn that together. I have to figure out what these Unity plans are and what the best one for this demo is gonna be. And this is just gonna end up being really, I can't wait to find out what I'm gonna figure out today. This is gonna be so wild. I've done this so many times in the corporate environment where I've jumped into something not knowing what the fuck is going on, with just kind of an idea of how I can solve something. I just jump in there and start fucking clicking around, and before you know it, it's over. The problem is solved, and I'm moving on to something else. That's how software development works in the corporate world, especially if you're developing business software that like is monitoring the business activity and the product creation life cycle, or the factories, or any of the equipment in there that's working. It's so much stuff, and all of it needs software, and everyone wants something custom. And if you got someone that can make something custom for you, you get paid. And when I do that series of all the coding stuff that I plan on doing, just like the Nama Sensei series, when I do that, everything gets installed to the F drive. R drive. Everything. This drive is production only. Trying to be extra secure right now. I'm probably going to slip up and fuck up and show something on my computer that I shouldn't show, like an IP address or my computer history, or a fucking gigantic porn collection or something. I'm not too concerned about that. If that happens, it's not going to be the end of the world. But I'd rather not. I'm trying to be secure mostly so I don't get my data stolen. I don't want my data stolen. That's why. So you're going to see all my bookmarks are gone, all my icons that I used to show when this dumpster talk would fail or whatever gone. I did a bunch of prep before we started here to try to make it a little bit safer for me to do this all the time. And I think I'm safe because all of you guys are not the gigantic amount of trolls that will come in if this is a success. Because after the fact is when it always happens. After the fact is when everybody will roll in, and that's when the bad actors will be jealous or the weirdos will be being psychopaths. That's what happened on YouTube. I remember that death threat guy. It was just some teenager like going through his angst or whatever. That shit was so fucked up. Okay, do I have a Unity ID? I probably do. I don't like doing password stuff here. We're going to go ahead and dark up for a little bit. I apologize for that. I need to get better at darken up, because this is, I don't know even how to do it. I've just not been doing this. There we go. That darks me. Okay, so I'm going to dark up and get signed up here. Alright, I'm going to see if I forgot my password first, because I remember a long time ago I messed with this. With Thunder, actually. Alright, it looks like I do have an account, so that's good. Hopefully that doesn't mean like some trial expired or horseshit like that. I hope not. But I'd rather not have to sign up. That's good. Enter a new password. No. Usually they make you confirm it, but they only made me take it and put it in once. So if I fuck that up, now I've got a fucked up password in there. So saving that password. Now I have to, we've detected changes. A verification code to the email. Hold on, guys. I'm not showing email either. You were, yeah, fucking Thunder, there you are. Yes, we made that shit in Unity. And that I showed you before that yeah, this stuff is not hard to do. You just got to do it. And now I have a reason to be in here. I've got an idea nobody's done. I really want to do it. I want to set them on each other, you know? I want to make characters that are able to do basic commands like pick up objects and throw objects and stab each other and stuff and talk and make decisions. I'm gonna stick them with each other and make them fight or fuck. I'm gonna make a sandbox first, and then I'm gonna decide what the fuck I'm gonna do with it. And it's gonna be hilarious. Come with me and make it with me. Alright, I've got this Unity code now. I'm almost done darken up. I apologize for this. I do have to, I'm gonna be really careful. I am gonna drink while I code at night if I decide to do any of this work at night, because I do like to drink. But I'm probably not gonna drink during the day, because I'll pass out at like 2. And that's when my daughter gets home. So if I'm all passed out at 2, that's not the spirit of drinking. That's not what drinking is for. Drinking is to have an extremely good time when you don't have anybody depending on you. So, unfortunately, that's another thing I gotta fucking probably let you know. I won't be drinking much. I might have a lunch beer or something like that. I'm my own boss, so I can fucking do whatever I want. But Unity has made changes. I'm almost ready to undarken. Okay. I am now in a website for Unity. And I think we're back. So I'm going to bring back... Well, no, I'm going to have to sign in again. I'm sorry. As soon as this bullshit is done. Open Unity Hub, yes. Okay. Got it. Okay, it looks like I'm actually doing stuff. I'll bring it back. Alright, so now we're installing the Unity editor. This is the current version. We get to choose whether or not we want to use the Canary version, the stable version, or a lower one. Honestly, it'd probably be in our best interest to use the most recent one, as we're doing an experiment anyway. So that might make available 1.9. I don't want to be here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go here. And we're putting ourselves into Unity. Oh, I already have a Unity. There you go. That's the folder. Do it! Get Unity personal. Unity active license. By agreeing, you confirm that you're eligible. I sure the fuck am. Yeah. I remember that license. Remember, if I use it as an organization, I'm ineligible. Yeah, I am a motherfucking single developer, bitch. I totally agree. And again, you'll be fucking lucky, Unity, if I choose you for my ultimate engine. Depends on how easy you are. Now, what the fuck is this bullshit? Why am I getting a motherfucking warning? Well, it seems like it's fine. I'll wait. It's probably warning me that I'm going to have to sit here. So I got to interact with chat a little better. I'm sorry. So, yes, Unity is extremely easy to jump into compared to others. And I have messed with Unity objects, so I shouldn't be super confused. I'm going to need to refresh myself, but it's going to be fine. I'm more excited about getting the AI model going, because that's the second thing we have to install. And I don't know a lot about that at all. I've never messed with that. And I'm really excited to have an AI model on my non-cloud area. It's going to be an LLM. I'm going to be able to talk to it and configure the way it talks back. I could make it a racist if I want. I certainly don't want to do that. I could make it... I can unrestrict it. And I can also allow it to have control over parts of my PC. And I can also... integrate it with the other AIs that I've installed on here without cloud. Because I've got Stable Diffusion on here too. That will make art assets. It's not very good yet. I don't particularly care for Stable Diffusion compared to other image processing AIs that I don't have a license to. So we stuck with that, and that's where we're going to be at with the AI. So let me see what this AI I want to use is. It's going to be, let's see if we can do this at the same time. I want to use Mixtral 8X, I believe. That's what I want. I don't want to do Llama. They have a licensing problem. I think I have to do Mixtral 8. Alright, so let me just get to the website here for this and figure out how we can start getting this going. I'm wondering if this is going to be Python driven. It probably is. It does require a lot to run this. So my system requirements are going to be really high for this game. It's going to require an i9 with a minimum of 32 gigabytes of RAM, an SSD drive with a minimum of 180 gigabytes of space, and a RTX 360 or higher. Now, what do I have here as a developer? I have way more. I have 64 gigabytes of RAM. It might even be 128, but I think it's 64. And then I have a 32-core i9 CPU, and I have the SSD suite that you've seen. That R drive is an SSD drive. And I've got a Titan XP Pascal NVIDIA GPU in there, which outclocks the crap out of any of this shit. So I should be good. The issue is when we get this thing going, and it's the temptation to put this on the cloud because of these system requirements is going to be astronomical. People are going to want to not have all of this processing being done on their machines, which sucks. Also, this won't run on a PlayStation. Whatever. We're still doing it. I don't care. Proof of concept. We can run it on PCs. Doesn't matter. All right. We have to first get LM Studio, and it's an AI toolkit. We're getting that first. Let me show you where that page is at. Hold on. There we go. I don't want all of this crap here in my crap. All right. So I'm downloading this LM Studio, and this is what we're going to run Mistral on. And it's just a UI. We're also going to run Mistral through Unity, and we're not going to have to use the LM Studio for that at all. But when we are configuring this thing and when we're doing the prompt engineering and when we're teaching it, it's going to need this. So, come on, work, you piece of crap. There it is. How are we doing, Unity? Failed! Why'd you fail? Some bullshit, I'm sure. Download failed. Not enough storage to download. So it looks like my... this is one of those ass applications where it needs the C drive, even though I didn't install it to the C drive. I hate applications like this. Fuck's sake. Alright. I need to clear disk space off of my primary drive. So that is what I'm doing. Son of a bitch. Which means I have to use the everything program. Void space, or void tools, everything I'm putting in the chat. Everybody on the chat right now. Oh god, I can't even talk in the chat through this. Seriously? What's wrong with my motherfucking OBS? I'll be goddamned. Alright. Fucking bullshit. Go into Twitch itself to do this. Alright. Void tools everything is what you guys should get if you don't have it. What it is, I'm going to show it to you briefly here, and then I'm going to stop showing it to you because it's showing too much of my drive. But here, let's unhide it for a second. Void Tools Everything is an extremely high-powered file manager and search. It will search multiple drives. It also searches network locations and AD directories and all kinds of crazy stuff. It's super, super, super fast, and it uses a SQL backend to index all of your files. It is a game changer. You definitely need it. If you work in a corporate environment and your corporate IT team will allow that software to be installed on your network, you can search vast and large network drives for contracts or for missing things. You could be a hero in your corporation with this software. This will also, if you're missing something, if you misplaced the shrimp shit, for example, and you really need to find the shrimp shit, I should be able to find the shrimp shit if I use the search correctly here. So this takes a wildcard. If I go star, shrimp, star, I should be able to get the shrimp shit. And there it is. There's everything that has to do with the shrimp shit on my drive. Just like that. No ads, no Microsoft toolbar getting stuck or floating up or down or anything. It's instant results with all of the data that you need about your files, and you can interact with these directly, delete them from here, move them from here, whatever you want. Again, Void Tools Everything is this utility, very highly recommended in your development suite. If you're doing this with me, if you're going to decide to become a video game developer personally, and you're going to do that on your own, this is one of your vital tools for all your file management. I could not do without it. Now I'm going to hide my desktop again because I have to now free space. So what I'm going to do instead of what I did is I'm going to filter this down. I would show you, but I'm not going to the C drive only, and not allow any of these other ones into the database. And then I'm going to query all, open, and then I'm going to sort by size. And you might think that would take forever, and it would using Windows as tools, but it's done. And the largest file is a temporary file called E4ACOD9BFC1C4, etc. That's 2.4 gigabytes at the top, descending, with tons and tons of files that I can get rid of, including XTU core log files for the Intel Extreme Tuning utility logs. Each of these is 547 megabytes on my drive. I'm going to look and see if there's anything inappropriate in this bitch. There isn't. I'm going to show my screen. Boing! Look what I found. This is how I'm going to get rid of my space problems. I've got all these XTU core files that are just log files sitting in my C drive that are taking up all this space, and nothing else is taking up any space. There's no porn to delete, so that would make it even easier. But these log files are going to solve my problem. So now my problem's solved. It was that fast. You've probably dealt with something like this and sat and fucked around for a half hour trying to figure out what the fuck wasn't going to break something if you delete it, and you didn't know where it all is, and Microsoft's sitting there shitting itself the whole time. This is your solution right here. This is your solution. All right, so I'm going to delete these. I'm going to take this off and remove these now. I'm going to select them with the control and remove them, and then it will give me a new list, which could, once again, contain inappropriate material. So I want to make sure it doesn't. There shouldn't be any porn, but there could be. I'm not saying that that's impossible. It's certainly actually, if I was going to bet, it's somewhere out there. It's just not very, it's not numerous. There's not a lot of it. I don't know where it is. Let's put it that way. So that's what makes it dangerous. All right, off with this. And does that give me a recycle bin to get rid of? I think it does. All right, gotta do that. Yep. All right. Problem solved. I'm back, and I am no longer. All right. So what do we got? It's not doing it anymore. Its failure is not. Can you try again? You're gonna allow me to do that again? Yeah, do that. Bitch. All right. What was I doing? Oh yeah, the other thing. This. Check internet connection. All right. We better the fuck have internet. That's all I'm saying. Yes. Credit. No, you need, if I help you get out of your shitty situation, like for example, if in a year from now, after all this shit I'm about to dump onto the internet for everybody on how to become a real developer, if you decide to quit your shitty job and work at a desk making way more money, it's still going to be a shitty job. I'm not going to lie, it's going to be shitty. But you'll make way more money, change your life, and you can do your time in that job and get out like this. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get out. And the way you do that is you save your money and you buy your home and you save it. Everything you have to own. You don't have any debt, and you have to just have more money then afterwards that you save and you don't spend, and you have a pile of it then you can quit. That's how it always works. But that's what I did. I've already done that step. So unfortunately, if you want to join me here in a non-hobby capacity or join quitting the job part, you got to get that part done first, which is why I'm going to give you the tools to do that by teaching you all of the software languages I know on YouTube. So there we go. And I'm also going to make my AdSense account in America, and I'm going to start making money with it because they stole all my money in Japan, everything. They stole it all. They are awful. I didn't do business with Google and still haven't for many years. I'm going to forgive them. I can't believe I'm going to forgive them. I'm kind of at their mercy at this point, though, if I want to be successful. I need them to publish me. So, as a video platform, because I have a product I want to sell, I'm going to get free advertisement from them now. Everything I'm doing is going to end up selling this product. So, that's why I have to forgive Google now. It's an attitude change. All right, what I want anyone who uses this to get it. It's very important. I also want to I might end up setting up some of these objects as users if I have to. I hope not. I don't want to do networking to make the game work, but we'll see. All right, not C. We want production R, everything. This is going to be LM Studio. So you notice I have to make my own folder names. here we are, and again, this is like lesson 1 supplemental. It's not the real lesson 1, but I'm giving you so much good advice in this huge breath of freedom that I'm taking here today that you might want to consider it that. When you rename folders, especially if you're in control and you're in your own project and you're doing things, even if you're not developing games, even if you're just using a computer, I'd like you to get out of the habit of using spaces in your folder names. The reason for that is that the way the old internet works, the spaces don't exist. And the way the new internet works, spaces don't exist in certain cases too. So in order to be able to interact on the internet with your file system without having to put in a bunch of escape characters or coded characters or other problematic things, the easiest way to just save yourself 1,000 hours of problems down the line that you could be doing anything else. Like you could literally spend your time jerking off during the time that you would be trying to make all of these folders with spaces have like exceptions and escape characters and %20 whatever's on their HTML code. If you just avoid that, if your whole project does not have spaces in it and just uses underscores and doesn't have special characters in the file system, you won't have to do any file conversions in any of your programs, and you'll be able to use all the standard shell commands on your files, and you'll be able to use wildcard characters on your files. And I'm telling you again, this is a really good piece of advice. I wish I was like, I should be. I'm not wishing anything. I'm in charge. I'm the fucking boss. All right, so I'm writing down all of my sage advice that I give that's incredibly important so that not only do I say it once, but it lives in this tome where it exists. First one is Void Tools Everything is an essential utility. That's the first piece of advice that's on here, and this is like this can be like the 88 commandments of coding or whatever that I make right now. I'm like fucking Moses in this bitch. Number 2 is going to be, when possible, if you are in control of your file system, do not use space characters or special characters. If possible. All right, and there are times where you're going to be stuck. Like there are times where maybe your user or the person asking for help from you, we're in charge here, so it's not going to happen to us today or in this big project. But in business, it happens all the time. People have bad data or data that's not compatible for this kind of stuff, and you'll want to automatedly move or mirror or be able to browse or create something like Void Tools Everything. I've created file systems like Void Tools Everything that are mine. I've actually written programs like that one. That one's better and for commercially using Windows. And it's also there, so I'm not going to try to compete with them. But I do that for internal business stuff. I make them, and I make it read the inside of the files and like show when certifications expire and things like that. And it's really important to do this if you can, because otherwise, as you are generating these files, and whenever I do it too, I map actually. I hate space characters in files so much that even if someone does use it, I map them to properly structured file systems so that I can use them on the internet and that I can use them in SQL. So it's just one step less that you have to take if you do this. So that's a commandment. And I'm going to save this now as the coding commandments, I guess. There. We'll be continuing to add to those. There's a bunch of things. Like I could say the next one already, or the most important one, which is always initialize your variables. We're not there yet. I don't even have a variable in front of you, so I'm going to make sure we have context for what I put in there before I just start filling that up full of fucking commandments. But rest assured By the time we're done with all of this, that thing is going to be full of things that you had better listen to me if you want to save your time. Otherwise, you're just going to make your job hard on yourself. That's what that stuff's all about. All right, we're going into here. I love it how I can just sit on a computer wait and I don't have to fucking worry about anybody looking over my motherfucking shoulder or like, I mean, it's just such a different thing to be in charge. It's so better. The sad thing though is in 2 weeks I don't get to pay myself. I guess I do, but I'm paying myself with money I made fucking sitting away, wasting my brain on saving people money when I could have been doing this. Wasting my brain protecting products that have 5% profit margins that are all sourced globally from 18 different nations and all of them now subject to 25% penalties. Do the math. It doesn't look good, does it? It doesn't look good at all. Why has this become very wake-uply necessary? Aside from everybody being so toxic about the fact that this is so fucked, instead of just complaining about it, I'm finding 100% profit fucking margin thing, and I'm getting it done now. And my goal is to be close enough that I can quit and drop the mic instead of them firing me because they don't have enough money to pay me. They won't be firing me for performance, that's for sure. It will be... Okay, so I don't want DeepSeek. Fuck no. We're not putting any Chinese shit on my computer. Besides, I'm going to be developing this on my own. This is not going to be at all... Alright, we need to go to Models Discover or something. I don't want to do this. More options. Why is this grayed out? What the fuck? I'm not okay with this. Alright. Skip onboarding. Okay, yeah. Did you see that Chinese shit try to come in here? I mean, I have nothing against the Chinese people. They're great. I have Chinese friends. They fucking made up kanji. Alright? There's a bunch of Chinese history that's great. Also, Suikoden 2, by the way. Fucking China, right? That's not a Japanese story. It's a Japanese game. That story's Chinese. The art and culture of China is fucking magnificent. And their gangs are fucking deadly and scary. The fucking triads can't be trifled with, and I honestly think they could kick the shit out of the Italian mafia and the Yakuza with half of their shit tied behind their back. They own fucking swaths of foreign jungles that are full of traps and fucking guns. It's fucking scary. Anyway, I don't want other countries in my shit, so I'm not putting DeepSeek on there. 4 megabytes! Did you see that? That's why people put DeepSeek on there. That's why. Can you imagine if I trusted DeepSeek, I could put that in and put the system requirements down. And maybe after proof of concept, I mean, there's going to have to be decisions made, ultimately. But I'm not dealing with DeepSeek unless I know exactly what the fuck it is, and I kind of don't. So, I don't know what you guys fucking think about me using DeepSeek. But for now, the decision is no. And... I don't know about the Trump administration or whatever, or whether as an American I shouldn't be using it because they're going to take my license away for it. That's probably the biggest reason not to use it. But 4 meg, my god, that looks awesome. So Unity looks like it's still going. Now I need to install Mixtrol 8x7b. That's the one I want. Version 0.1 is what I want. So I have to type in a search, I believe. Where's the Models Discover? Discover. Okay. And then All right, so does this is this what you guys thought installing your own AI on your own computer was going to be like? Did you think it was going to be just like this little cutie interface where you just go in and pick what you want? Because that's what this is. All right, here it is. This is what I want. Um, so I'm going to download this 20 gigabyte file. So once again, we have a computer wait ahead of us. Let's do it, and let's make sure that this is going to the right spot. I sure hope it is. It looks like there's plenty of space. 2 hours before we get to play with the AI. That's good. I'm definitely going to take a lunch break on one of those hours in about like an hour and a half probably. So, but anyway, we don't need to have the AI yet. We'll just get that to do what it's doing, and we'll continue with Unity for now. And it looks like this is also busy. So we're on computer waits. And if you were my employee, this is your time to fucking do whatever you want. Because, I mean, there's only so many fucking computer waits you can wait for. We can think about stuff, and we could talk about coding a little more. Visual Studio is another great program that I am going to need to invest in. I use it at work, and you can get a free version of it, and I probably should start doing that right now. Might as well do something else. This is what I do at work too, but now I am furthering my own interests by not being idle. I'm actually... Alright, Microsoft. Let's go with... Do we have a 2024? Is there a 2024 version? Now, there's something about Visual Studio you need to know, and I am totally going to enjoy downloading. It looks like 22 is the one that we want. I'm going to totally enjoy downloading this, knowing that it's the version that I'm going to have and I get the best one. But I want to tell you something about Visual Studio, and I guess that this is going to be number 3. If you want to use SSIS, use an older shell version of Visual Studio. So I'm going to talk about SSIS for a second. SSIS is SQL Server Integration Services. It is it's a business intelligence plugin that is old as hell. It uses something called providers. Providers are ways that data sets communicate with data systems and databases. So it has several providers, and each provider communicates with a different kind of data system. Excel actually has 2 different providers. There's something called the OLE. There's an ACE provider, and there's a JET provider for different versions of Excel and different bit rates of Excel. So those 2, as well as different CSV interpreters and other providers, are integrated into this SSIS. Well, so what the fuck am I saying? It's just a bunch of gibberish, basically. Let me explain. If you want to take an Excel file or a CSV file with data in it and put it inside of a database, SSIS is the way to do that. And it's the easiest way. There are other ways. That's the easiest way to do it. It is not supported in these later versions of Visual Studio. So if you want to integrate it into like ASP web pages, or if you want to integrate it into other applications that you're doing, you are going to have an older version of Visual Studio. Also, the shell version of Visual Studio and the SSIS business intelligence plugin and the ASPX authoring part of Visual Studio is not part of the paid package. It's free. So you don't have to have a license to develop an ASPX web page or to do SSIS in Visual Studio. You can do that with a free license. So that's something to know. And So ASPX and oh my god, you're not gonna let me have Notepad. Are you serious? I guess Unity is really taking its toll on my system if I can't even write my fucking third commandment about SSIS in here. It is amazing at Tasty Toast. You're watching a transformation occur. This is the rest of the rest of my life. I'm gonna become fucking rich, is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be rich beyond my wildest. And y'all are coming with me. Why? Okay, oh, there we go. Alright, here we go. ASPX. Use an older shell version of Visual Studio. ASPX and SSIS and SQL integration services can be used without payment in yes 2015 shell. All right, so this obviously, these are two things we're not going to use for game development. ASPX is a kind of web page that uses some objects inside of it that make it really easy to store data and information, like drop down menus and text boxes and scroll bar text boxes and calendar widgets and things like that. File uploaders and just all the stuff you see on the web that does stuff like a computer program. That kind of stuff exists in ASPX, and it also exists in other different kinds of web development languages like PHP. There are many of them. AcDO. There's all kinds of them. I use ASPX primarily. All the programming languages are the same. They're all the same. So it's just how you say the sentence. It's more the same. Programming languages are more similar than linguistic languages are. They're kind of the same too, but the programming languages are like fucking seriously the same, and there's not near as much to learn to figure out the differences between them. You should be able to, by the end of this year, if you stick with me, be able to write in every programming language, no matter what it is, because the fucking syntax is irrelevant. You should know about the logic. You program code based on logic, and then you adapt your syntax. That's another commandment. Okay, this is something I've been doing since before the advent of AI. And AI makes this even more important because AI is going to help you translate code from one language to another very quickly if you need to do that. So you can bring concepts that are already flushed out into a language learning model, and then it will change it and make it into something that you can use on a different language platform. So that's what you can do. And it is awesome that Van Wolf is in agreement with this. So we're going to bring this back over here and pray once again. What else can I talk about in the meantime? I don't want to... wow, they really... I guess that's what you do. And this is the thing. If you're lucky, if you go start a new job and anyone's even there to onboard you. Have you ever started a job where you were like there and like nobody gave a fuck, and it was like, why did they hire me in the fucking first place if nobody here can fucking see their ass from their face, right? That's what's happened to me so many times, right? I've gone a week without getting a computer at a fucking corporation before, which is fucking asinine. How do people have their heads so far up their ass that could happen, and then expect you to have some kind of like KPI or performance metric to like perform against? Come on. Like, the people who devise these corporate measurement systems are so deficient themselves. Actually, it's unbelievable. It blows my mind how most of the inefficiency in all the corporations that I've worked for exist in the very fucking infrastructure that's trying to measure and make KPIs to make efficiency happen. Have any of you experienced this? Because that's what I fucking experienced. I can't believe it. I'm done putting up with this kind of crap. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I'm lucky though. Here, hey, it's installed. Look at that. See, I'm onboarded now because I'm not a fucking incompetent piece of shit. Like that. I love to be self-reliant. That is the best part about this. Okay, so Unity is installed. What do we do? Let's make a new project. Okay. I think 2D platformer is closer to the learning template that I would want. What kind of samples do we have? I don't really know if I want a sample. I really don't. So let's see what I want to do here. All right, so let's see what the best way here to... I'm asking right now what the best way to start a project without a template is in this. I forgot. It's very easy to forget. It's better never. Oh, here comes a commandment. Oh, here it is. All right, this is fucking key. If you're such a head case or such a pride person or someone that wants to do everything in front of people and look like you're the motherfucking expert of the world, good for you if you want to be the motherfucking expert of the world. You can be even more of the expert of the world if you listen to me, though. So think about that. Don't be ashamed to look up stuff. Look them up and right in front of people. Tell people what you're doing. Tell people, hey, I don't know how to do that. I'll bet I can. I'll just go check. Go check. That does not make you a bad developer. It makes you fucking smart, humble, and able to have learning agility. Something that's important. If you don't do this, and if you get stuck in your textbooks and the way of doing things in college, you're fucked. You're not going to get anything accomplished. Rely on the tools we have. We have the internet, and we have these LLMs that can help us too. Use them. Don't be ashamed. There's nothing ashamed about that. You're the director. You're a motherfucking god, and you have help. Use the help. It's nothing wrong with using it. You're not any less smart. Nobody's going to think you're stupid. And if any of you think I'm stupid, I don't give a fuck. That's the attitude you got to have. All right, there's that commandment. That goes right in there. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. I'm searching all this shit and looking at what I need to do. And then I'm doing it over here. I only have 2 screens. I got to keep my OBS and all my shit over here. So, yep, new project. That's what I want. So there we are. We have new project here. Where 2D project type. Universal 2D. 2D mobile. Universal 2D. I want Universal 2D, okay? Name the project. So I'm going to name this thing... Alright, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to make a top-down AI sandbox where we have characters that have separate AI entities within them that interact with each other. That's the goal. So we're going to call it we got to call it something funny. Like, we might actually be able to sell this on Steam for like 99 cents, which would be hilarious. So, Control C and Control V was DevLife. Fuck yeah, before even with Stack Overflow. Copying and pasting code from people on Google that solved problems, that's how you solve problems. We're all building on other people. You're going to see this this Universal 2D, do you know how much code it took and how many libraries I'm going to be depending on that I didn't write? I'm on the back of every other developer before me, and I'm about to stack the biggest motherfucking crate on top of the back of every one of these other fucking developers by doing what I'm about to do. Because I'm doing something that hasn't been done before, and other people are going to want to do it, and I'm not going to be a bitch about it. I'm going to be like, go, have fun, do this. And games are going to change forever in a good way, and some of them are going to have this kind of craziness in it. This is going to become a thing, and someone might even learn to do it better. You remember the iRobot, right? Those fucking Roombas? Someone fucking did that better. They're going out of business now. But I only need to make it one time. I just need to fucking get one high-selling product and make sure that it's like fucking, what's his name, Toby Fox, or fucking Concerned Ape, or fucking Pirate Software, or one of these indie devs, right? Product, people like it, money, done. That's it. People want to play the game, I'm rich. As much profit as I could take. All right, let's fucking do this. What I want to name this something funny. Let's call this I'm going to call this the grasshopper jar. This is going to be called the grasshopper jar. And that might be the name of this game. Let me tell you a story. I'm gonna sit back. I get to not be productive all the time. I'm gonna tell y'all a story. So, when I was a kid, my mom used to throw me outside like the trash, or like a dog. She'd do the dog too. Actually, the dog went outside with me, and it was normal. So, what would happen in the summertime or before I was old enough to go to school? It would be about 8 or 9 o'clock. And then she'd just throw me outside and say, go play outside. And the supervision was very minimal at that time because we believed, they did, that the neighborhoods were safe. And in a way they were safe, but they weren't. But in a way they were safe. They weren't safe. And the things that I did, they weren't safe either. But anyway, the point is they'd chuck me right the fuck outside. And I would have to sit out there, and that's boring. And we would fucking put out big pieces of plywood that we would get off of like abandoned buildings and put them on the hills and try to get snakes to breed under them and then lift them up and catch the snakes. And we'd fucking do all kinds of dumb shit with firecrackers. And honestly, it was very unsafe. All right, it was super, super unsafe. I think it's safer now than then. Because people actually like look at their kids. One of the kids' parents are going to be there looking at them. But we were just wild. Another thing we did, though, was we caught bugs. And I would often put them all into one jar. And I noticed when it was like 5 or 6 or 7 years old, something like that. Very young kid. I noticed that every time I put the grasshoppers into the jar together, after about maybe 5 or 10 minutes, their butts would just attach to each other. And they'd have attached butts, except for maybe one of them. And I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And it just fascinated me that I never saw any grasshoppers with their butts tied up in a knot out there. And then in the jar, though, you stick them in there, and then their butts fucking, they fuck. They fuck. That's what they do. They fuck. I didn't know what they were doing. I was 7 years old. So I thought they were wrapping their butts together in a knot. And I was trying to figure out why they did that. And so I often did this. I would breed grasshoppers. I didn't know I was a grasshopper breeder. But I bred grasshoppers. And they were everywhere around my yard because I did that. I was constantly catching them, putting them together, and having them fuck each other. But I was just some kid thrown outside, bored out of his mind. I did not know I was breeding these things. They are everywhere there now. It is hilarious. And glad we don't grow crops. I would have gotten in a lot of trouble. Regardless, they are fucking thriving. What I'm going to do here is the same. I'm going to put these objects, they're my little grasshoppers. And we're going to make them fuck. That's what's going to happen here. So that's why I'm calling this Grasshopper Jar, and that's what the first project is going to be. Now you know the backstory, and we need to make sure that our project goes into the same production area. And you'll notice I am not using a space here. So anything that I am doing within any of these projects, it's very important that I don't do that. You'll notice my Windows system that I'm not doing development work on has plenty of spaces in it. I'm not a hypocrite. That's actually normal. You don't have to do it all the time. When you're coding, your whole file structure, everything it's dependent on, no spaces. Saying that again. All right, so anyway, there's the Grasshopper Jar. All right, there it is. And that's me. What the fuck is this bullshit? I don't like clouds. Okay, you're probably wondering what the fuck this stuff is, so I want to explain it. Using the Unity Cloud, this is a pathway to dependence on someone else's computer. So cloud computing is essentially a computer rental. You're renting someone else's real estate, your computer real estate. In every situation, business or otherwise, I recommend owning your own computer infrastructure. You can set up your own clouds if you do this correctly. I know how to make clouds, so why the fuck would I buy someone else's? I own my house. Why the fuck would I rent an apartment again? It's like that. So I see all these businesses making these decisions to go to cloud-based platforms. They're giving all their data to these mega corporations. They're offboarding from physical hardware that they own, and they're becoming dependent to them. They're becoming dependent on not only their own security, which they could be under attack at any time, and then suddenly this company doesn't work anymore. Like if Microsoft is hosting your cloud, or Cloudflare, or any other cloud service, or this Unity Cloud is hosting it, and suddenly they're under attack, you're under attack. You have no way to unplug your machines or do anything. It's fucked. Your whole business is done then. Oops, did you think about the risk? No? Oh, too bad. Did someone tell you? Did someone wearing a blue shirt tell you? Yes, they did. You fucking idiot. So, anyway, cloud computing is something that should only be done for things that are fickle and temporary and that do not have any kind of core to your business or to your personal life or your person. Ever. Okay? You honestly, if you care about your photos and that's where they're going, that's not where they should be going. Even as a backup, probably not where they should be going. If you just want to use a cloud as a temporary storage for communication that happens daily between one place and another place, and that's all it is, and it's everyday wiped like random access memory, that's how I feel a cloud should be used. And I think it's the only appropriate use of a cloud that does not jeopardize the security of your project. Okay? You can do that kind of cloud service. You're paying then. And your users are going to have to pay. You're going to end up having them on a subscription service, or you're going to fail them. You're going to be like fucking Magic the Gathering Tactics on Sony's stupid network, and you're going to fail. And you're going to fucking take all these users that put their money into your cosmetic shit and all your game, and you're going to fucking abandon them. It's unacceptable to do that kind of shit. And that's what happens when you end up being fucking enslaved to someone else's cloud server. So be really conscious when you fucking make those choices. All right? I know you're sitting here like, well, you've never made a game before. Why are you all so fucking... I've been in corporate development for 10 years. I've seen so much money lost because of stupid decisions about cloud computing. I've seen big companies that I have nothing to do with, Delta, and other companies make huge, huge mistakes with their infrastructure of their business that's critical, and they're in big trouble if it fails. What is Unity version control? Let me tell you about version control. Version control is an essential part of team development, and it is a luxurious part of individual development. Version control is, for lack of better word, it's Git. Git is version control. And there are other ways. There's like Team Foundation server, there's Unity version control. There are all kinds of different ways of dealing with version control. But what version control is, it's a kind of log of the way that your project and its file structure changes over time. And it allows you to Marty McFly around your project if you need to. Like if you do some development and you make a new object and you do a bunch of shit, you add a bunch of classes to it and attributes and functions to the object, and you save it and you move along, and then you make an environment for your object, and then you save it, and you do these things called commits and pushes and pulls. And what happens is it takes your project and it shoves that project on a server, and then takes your old project and kind of archives what the changes were on that server, and then you're left with your local drive just the way it is, and you just keep developing. And if anything goes wrong, like if I went in and, for example, accidentally deleted all of the classes out of the object but left all the functions and stuff, and then went on and kept developing for another 24 hours, and then realized, oh shit, some point like last night, before I built this 3 times ago, I fucking deleted all these classes out of this object. It doesn't work. I'm fucked. What do I do? You can go back and you can deal with individual elements and their versioning and when they were changed, and you can compare the code side by side as to what was changed and what wasn't. So it's a service, and I don't know whether this is a paid service or not, so I am going to do what people don't do. Read this stuff, people. I'm about to try to make millions of dollars. 1% of $1 million, everybody. How much is that? All right, let's think about that a little bit. How much is 1% of $1 million? You have to take 2 zeros off of that bitch. That's $10,000. So if I have to give up 1% of the net proceeds of my game to subscribe to this version control here, if that's what's going on, that fucking matters, and I should probably read about it. So for once, these agreements that you go into, and I'm not necessarily even going to use Unity as my engine, these agreements make a fucking difference, and it also makes a difference in corporate too. These make a difference. You can't just blow by the agreements in corporate. You have to look at them, because they might cost your corporation money. You might be in violation of some kind of law. So there's a lot of times where if you install software with an individual license in a corporation, like this one, for example, it's illegal. You need to buy an enterprise license to do it within an organization, and you have to have that enterprise license like filed down to you from some IT admin. So it's not 1,000. It's definitely 10,000. And 1,000 would still be worth reading a fucking little bit of text here, which I'm gonna do. So let's see what the fuck this is. All right. And now I'm going to do what every smart person should do these days. And if you think this is stupid, you're wrong. So see, what I'm doing here is just having this AI look at this for me, and I am going to see whether or not there's any financial things none of this shit matters. But this is a lot easier to read, isn't it? This certain services I want to know about. Looks like there's advertisements that you can embed in your game if you want, and you can get money from Unity. That's interesting. I'm not going to put advertisements in my game. That's final. Next, see, this service data is, that's what I don't like. Look at this. This is a problem. So I don't like this. It's service data. That's the GitHub. That means it owns my game. I don't like that kind of language. I know that that's not going to hold up in court, but this kind of crap, I just don't want to be, I don't want to be beholden to them. I'd rather set up a Git server that's mine and that I know will do version control for me in exactly the way I need without having to be beholden to this company. So I don't have to read this anymore. This is not important. Right now, I've done what I needed to do. I've made my decision. It's a negative decision. Once the negative decision is made, I've found enough reason not to read that document anymore. I do not want version control. It's a Unity service that I do not want. I don't want this cloud. It's a Unity service that I do not want. Let's create a project. Watashi wa suki desu. Steam doesn't let you publish games with ads inside them anymore. Yeah, I did not know that. Yeah, well, it's a personal thing. I think advertisements are horseshit. I'm sorry they're on this platform. But I do not like them, and I would like to do everything I can to avoid that kind of thing. I ad block as much as possible. I actually block most of the major ad providers at the router level. I'm very serious about anti-advertisement. I have anti-advertisement software on operating systems that you probably didn't even know could have it, like the Fire Stick operating system and the operating system that is the iOS operating system, the one that's on the iPad. So yeah, it's very anti-ad. I'm not an ad-friendly guy. So it's kind of lame that I have to use ads as part of my new plan to stay alive and make this game. But smart TVs do suck. By the way, I have not hacked the Samsung OS, so that is a holy grail for me. If you do figure out how to hack the Samsung OS to put Steam Link back on to the Samsung OS and to get the ad blocking to work, if you DM me on the Discord, I'll personally walk through with you and get that done over here. That would really be nice. I would very much appreciate that. I have not done that. Fire Sticks are really easy to do it for, but yeah. Yep. You have to do it at the router, and you'll get a lot of them to knock out. And what you'll get with the Samsung thing is it'll say, "We'll be right back," and you'll get the little dots and things, and it'll just sit there and not play ads. But it will also be dead air during some of those time periods. So there's not a lot you can do. And I can't install any third-party soft on there, and even though they made a Steam Link software on there, and then Samsung and Valve got into a legal dispute, and Samsung removed the Steam Link software from the motherfucking Samsung operating system, which sucks. I need coffee, as I'm almost out of this bitch. See, is it time for my lunch beer? I do get a lunch beer. I think it is time for the lunch beer. We're gonna have the beer now, because I'm in charge. That's why. Alright, just went to the company fridge to get the company beer. No, not Irish coffee. I'm just gonna go with beer. You're close. I could have done that. I don't have any Irish cream. I'm out. In fact, I don't even have a liquor cabinet. I built a brand new kitchen and I did not put a liquor cabinet in it. And so I don't have anywhere for liquor and I need to figure out what I want to do about that. The fuck is up, Smooth Dog? It is great to see you. Long time no see. I am starting a brand new leaf of entertainment and content. You are here to experience the first day of it. Wonder how Mixtral is doing. Oh, something's happening. As soon as I move anything, it's going to be back to work before you know it. What the fuck happened to my browser? Come on. And I don't think I need this. Okay. So let's have a look at this here. I am very familiar with interfaces like this. So I'm going to gain my bearings here and kind of also try to explain it. So it looks like this is my username up here, and this is something called an asset store. So there's going to be things in here I think that I can get for free. Probably pre-drawn graphics, probably pre-drawn shapes. I will probably want to use this because I am trying to test a proof of concept on how to control objects. I am not trying to draw my first character. I've done things like that before. So this will be a great place for me to go, and I can probably get some objects really quickly that I'll be able to utilize to show off some of these controls. Then I've got assets down here. You can see, I'm going to remove myself. There we go. So the assets down here, we've got scenes, and we've got settings and things of that nature. And on the left side, we've got all these objects, and this is a file structure from the look of it. So I think that in my actual project, and this is important to think about right away when you're doing any kind of development, or especially if you're in a new engine or a new visual setup, like Visual Studio is a lot like this, for example. You need to know what the relationship between this interface that you're going to work in all the time is and your file system. So I've got this grasshopper jar here, and then it's in a second one, and you'll take a look here, and this is where I'm already starting to see some things that are very familiar in this project folder here. So assets, packages, and it looks like that's all that it's showing right now. And we've got assets and packages here. Inside assets, if we look here, and we look here, you'll notice that we have scenes and settings and scenes and settings, but we also have the, I'm sorry, I don't know what the hell. Assets, there we go. All right, so we also have all of these files here, and you'll see here that you don't get the files in this spot. I'm noticing this. And you do get them in this spot. So it seems like whatever level you're on, up and down here, is going to give you whatever level in here of files that you can interact with and do things with, or drag and drop, I'm assuming. And if this asset was like an image or something, I'm assuming I could drag it into this play area and do something with it. But for now, I'm just looking, and I noticed that there are at least 4 different files here, and I only see 3 here. So my first thought is, why are some files not showing up? And I see 1, 2 assets, default volume and universal render pipeline. Default volume, universal render pipeline. This one is asset, this is an asset. You see dot asset there. So those 2 are showing up because they are assets. Why is input system actions dot input actions showing up? It's because it's not a .meta file. So finally, what I can conclude And again, I'm doing this all based on my own observation of what I'm dealing with, and it's worth your time when you're going into an environment like this to take stock of everything. The meta files aren't going to show up. That's important. I don't know what these meta files even do, but I know they don't show up in my project when I'm working every day, and that they are in my file system, and that matters. And now I know. This is one less confusing thing just because I decided to go fucking take a look. We really need every time to know our file systems. Next, we can look inside these guys too. I want to see these settings. So we've got, I want this recycle bin thing gone. Goodbye. All right. So I also want this out of my way. Now I'm in the settings, and once again, we've got these renders, and they're asset files. And then we've got this, and this is a scene template file. And that scene template has a meta and a non-meta. It's the same exact thing. So now I'm going to go into the scenes folder. Within the settings folder, isn't that confusing? Yes, 2 scenes folders. Notice that. This is, all these things can hang us up so hard. So I'm not in the scenes folder yet here. I'm looking at here. What do you think the scenes folder is going to fucking look like? It's just going to have one file. It's going to be URP 2D scene template. Boom, there it is. See? So now I understand how the fuck these assets work and how that file system works. The packages look very similar. Am I going to look at every one of these motherfucking folders right now? No. But did I get what I wanted out of that? Do I know how this is browsing? And do I know what the weirdness of the file systems and the metas and that relationship now? Yeah, I do. I want to do a few more things. I want to click on one of these objects. And I'm noticing that as I click on objects in here, I'm going to put my voice, or not my voice, put my shit back here. I noticed that when I'm clicking on objects within this spot where I am here, any object, it doesn't matter, this object or this object or this object here, it's changing the inspector. That's what this thing is called. I liken it to the properties window in Visual Studio, if you know what that is. This shows what this is all about. So I've clicked on this input system underscore actions, and I think I'm going to be working in this particular object a lot, and I think I'm going to be teaching the AI how to interact with this object through Unity. That's what I think is going to happen. I think there's going to be a lot of activity around this spot. So if I look here in the inspector, I can edit this in a settings window, or I can look at some things. It says generate C# class. This looks like an automatic thing I can do. If I check this box, it's going to make a C# class for me. You might be like, what's that? A class is an object in a program. Think of a class as like a part of a bicycle. Okay? So inside, you can have subclasses and things, and you can have functions and things like that. So let's say you have a class of your bicycle, and your bicycle's pedaling down the fucking road, and how does it work, right? Well, it has a bunch of components, right? And it has a bunch of things that it does. So, for example, it has a function called pedal, and it has a variable called speed, it has a variable called velocity, and it has vector, excuse me, not velocity. It's the same as speed, kind of. Vector, and it has a position. And just all these attributes, you just start adding them. They're data, right? They're just like variables that are part of this bicycle. Now, you don't think about these things being ever-presently changing variables of a bicycle, but believe me, your bicycle's sitting in your garage with its zero velocity and its trajectory of wherever it is pointed on the earth on its kickstand, and it's not pedal state happening right now. That all is happening to your bicycle, and if the fucking Lord, God, existing or not, fucking created that bicycle and the physics under it for it to operate in this universe, all of that shit is true about that bicycle. And if you wanted to measure it on a computer, that's how you could do it. That's how you got to think of all the shit in your game. It's the same thing. If you're imagining something real, like a person, you have to think about all the things that make that person a person that matter for your game, and you have to define it in that person class. And that person class has actions that it performs, it has attributes that change over time, and it has immutable qualities and things that are constant. That's what classes are all about. And it depends on other stuff. That class can hold a class. It has its inventory in there and things. You get to build all this stuff. We get to define together about the game we're gonna make. Anyway, the point is that's what a class is. So what it's looking at, these are input system. That's a lot. And look at all this prefabbed stuff we've got. That's amazing. I just clicked on that. I just got a bunch of prefabbed stuff. Player attack sounds good. That's something I want to do. Do I want to have to deal with that right now? No. So I would love to be able to just get all this stuff into a coherent environment where it kind of works with regular controls, and then we just get the AI involved, and we are going to go nuts. It's going to be ridiculous. Speaking of the AI, we are 1 hour and 43 minutes left into the installation of Mixtral 8X7B, which is going to be the AI I'm choosing to control these objects in this tech demo I'm attempting to do. It's not a demo because I've never done it. This tech, what is it? Foray. It's an expedition. This is a fact-finding expedition. I'm just trying to figure out how much mastery can we have on all of this shit in a short amount of time. Every minute is going to be looped in. I am going to document this because I think I'm going to be successful. I regret, this is the truth, I regret not documenting my rise from poor to rich. Because I did that. And it really needed to be documented so that you could do it too. I want to take everybody with me if they want to come, you know? Like, if you want to learn Japanese, I want you to learn it, right? I did it. If you want to get rich, I want to help you get rich. But I missed that opportunity. I didn't put in the work. And I didn't document what I was doing. And part of it was because, yeah, it's all corporate work. So what I really would have had to have done was I'd have had to do my job, which I was making all that money with. And then I would have had to teach you all on top of that how to do that job. So would it have been easier to do it as I learned it and then had that path there and had you follow along and then come here with this pile of money and no debt and readiness to start a new leaf in my life and just lay it on you? It would have been, you'd have been there the whole time. And a lot of you would be with me too. We could even do it at the same time. So I regret not doing it, because with the Japanese, I was learning along with you, whether you knew that or not. That's how I structured those lessons. I looked like an expert, and a lot of people on 4chan or whatever are like, hey, he doesn't know. I don't care, fuck those people. But the thing is, I delivered high quality true lessons that were accurate. The thing that I left out was the fact that I was the student retaining 80% of what I teach, which is what you do if you teach. You retain a fuck ton of what you teach. So I want to retain the shit out of all these skills I'm going to develop on this journey. So here we go. I'm going to teach it too. That's the reason. And if you don't want to come with, if you just want to pop in every once in a while and be like, God, he's still fucking going at it, that dumbass. And then just let it be a little drip of inspiration every once in a while or something. It doesn't matter. But at some point, you might want to binge watch it all. Then you can. You'd be like, damn, that's when he did X fucking thing that made these fucking assets create themselves. Because I'm going to make assets create themselves. If you think I'm not going to be fucking, think player attack, I'm going to make these things make themselves. I want creativity to start occurring within the asset libraries. Like, we're going to make it not rogue-like. We're going to make it pirate-like. The rogue it's too weak of a word to use for what kind of game this is going to be. We're going to have... It's going to build a lot of what it is for itself. That's what I want it to do. I want to teach it how to make itself. And it's going to be a combination of AI and the traditional roguelike, seed-oriented, randomly generated, structure-based creativity that you see in roguelike games. So both of those elements combined are going to turn this into an experience that I can't wait to actually have as a player. I'm excited to play it, actually, to see what this shit does. I go on too much. All right, so anyway, that's what this fucking thing does. Here we have a scene. So this is a scene. I see a lot of icons around here. This is supposed to be 2D. I'm looking in here. The default right-click action or left-click action here is to bring this fucking square here. The right-click action is a drag and drop. So you've got select and drag. Very basic functions. And if you'll notice, up here, you will see that when I do that basic right-click, it actually changes to that hand icon. If I click on the hand icon, now my left-click is doing it. So I can tell, and now my right-click is actually bringing this menu up, which is really interesting. And I guess it matters what kind of thing you've clicked on over here in order to figure out what kind of interaction it's going to be. So this is the selector box. That was what was defaulted. And again, it automatically, if I have a different thing selected, the right-click is always going to be the hand if I've got the other one selected. So this is going to become very important for me to internalize. It's just the same as if you're starting to learn how to play a video game and you're learning the controls, like what does your R2 do? What does your L2 do? What does the R3 do? You got to figure out all your shit. These games are getting more complicated and you want to figure out the best way to get it all done before you start getting killed over and over again. That's how I do it. So figuring out how the best way to quickly get between these controls, it's good to do. Oh, nice, Oddity. I'm glad you know someone. They're going to be rich, aren't they? I hope that they have a big enough audience and that they generated enough market and buzz for their product that they can reap the benefits from all the time they put in. Part of my plan is to vastly advertise for myself like this. I'm going to be constantly telling people how excited I am about finishing this and how good it's going to be able to do it. That advertisement's going to be what drives the sales of the game. So I'm going to have that. I don't know what their strategy is. He might be. It's not a joke. If he makes a serious game that's published, that's entertaining, he will be rich. There's kind of no way to avoid it. If a game would receive positive reviews on Steam, it's over. You win. That guy gets to go home. I'm ready to do that. I am fully confident that I will make it there. So, anyway, these fucking controls, we've got some stuff over here. This is called the hierarchy. I don't know what the fuck that means. And we've got the scene here, and then we've got a camera and a global light. So, 2D light is interesting. I don't really know what that means, but I assume that it's the light shining on the canvas. And I assume that light is this, and that's the middle thing that we're looking at, I think, is the light. I think that light is coming from the center, and then I can move it to the left or the right, and it's shining on a piece of, for lack of a better word, paper, because 2D is paper. If you think of Paper Mario or anything else, yeah, those sprites do cool things, and they actually are working in 3D space. All the Paper Mario games are in 3D space, but it's in real, true 2D space, like Noida 2D space, or like Meat Boy 2D space, or what's a great 2D platformer? The Spelunky 2D space, right? Fucking 2D space. Okay, if you're in real 2D space, that is paper, and you're not going to see anything peel up or down. But 2D space, interesting enough, still has a Y layer, and that is the order on which the different sprites are stacked on top of each other. That pig pile is actually an axis, whether you like it or not, and it has a numeric value, and it's something we're going to need to actually key into as a variable in order to change how our objects interact with each other. So it's important to mentally understand what kind of fucking field we have over here, and should be good. All right, so anyway, that global light, I'm looking at it right here. That's the light right there, and as you can see, if I click on it, there's some things I can do. I can change an intensity layer. I think there's a color involved. There is. I could change it. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to leave it white. I really want to get a plane on here, I think. I've also failed to maintain my old roadmap, and I went off the rails while I was waiting. And also reading the terms of service and stuff. So forgive me, and let me get back to where I was working. Alright, well, it looks like I've gotten through some of the steps that I have already outlined for myself. I have this whole thing outlined a lot. Like, here are some pieces of it. I actually have worked in ChatGPT to solve this problem theoretically. So, a very long session, a serious one, using the O1 model, which I can only use 10 times per month. I also subscribe to the ChatGPT, and eventually I probably will not do that, but for now it's the most valuable subscription that I have. If you work in corporate and they allow you to do it as a development tool, you should subscribe for yourself if they don't give you a subscription. I'm lucky that I had open-minded corporate handlers and that they allow me to use ChatGPT as a tool to do code verification and to learn new ways to execute logic. But anyway, I worked with this model to solve this problem extensively, and I determined all the tools I wanted to use and how they were all going to connect first. So that's why I'm so confident here. It's because I have this roadmap I made like a couple days ago. I would have done that here, but I was not actually at this computer. So anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm glad I did it because I was running out of uses of that O1 model, and you need to use it or lose it when it comes to the O1 model in that ChatGPT thing. All right, so anyway, the next step we have is to set up the scene and camera. We've already got the scene there, and I'm going to click on the main camera, and it is projection. I want it to be orthographic. I'm sure that's what it is, but you can see that perspective is also an option, and that would mean that I can tilt this around, and for now, I don't want to tilt around the camera. There are some interesting tricks that we might pull, or some interesting things we might do. Like, we might change this game to be a 3D game at some point. In fact, we could probably use AI to do something like that. Like 3D Dot Heroes, remember that game? That game is a game that was entirely coded with 2D logic, and then all of the sprites were changed into 3D sprites. Because that game was done in that logical of a way where the entire code base of the game would work using either graphic setup, they would be able to tie all those objects to 2D objects very quickly, and AI could do it in a matter of seconds. So that's always the kind of thing I'm on the lookout for, is stuff that is unified and able to do that. But fuck that. We don't need orthographics what we want. And 5 is going to be the size, so there we go. Now, we're going to go into the hierarchy. And in there, we want to 2D object somewhere. All right, so if you right-click in the hierarchy, you can put in a 2D object by going here. You can also put a 3D object, an effect, a light, an audio, a video. Look at all this stuff. Boy, they sure make game development easy, don't they? Just giving us all these tools right out the box. Could we do it without Unity? Could we do it without all these great, this is basically an object-oriented programming platform that's just got it all organized for you. Could we do it without it? Get 20% more money? Make our own engine? Yeah, we could. That's a decision I got to think about. I really do. Proof of concept first. 2D objects. Sprites. Let's make a square. I am going to make this square. There it is. I'm going to name it player. All right. I think this is the name of the object. If I change it here, I think it's going to change over here. Yes, it is. So the name is up here at the top, and it's got its icon here. This is the icon, I believe, for an object. I want to know what that icon really means, I would call it an object, but I don't fucking know. You'll notice because I right-clicked on the main camera, the player is inside the main camera. I don't know whether or not the main camera is where the player belongs or if it belongs outside, because this step 3 isn't clear. So I'm going to ask it, what part of the hierarchy is the right spot? Which part of the hierarchy does the... It already has our whole plan in there, so it knows exactly what I'm talking about. I already went to like step 3, unity. What part of the hierarchy does the square go to? When you create the square object, it will automatically appear directly under the root. That is incorrect. No. All right, so that is not the right spot. I'm going to drag it, and I'm going to put it under. Do you notice how I just assumed that? The chat didn't tell me. I assumed that I could interact with these objects by dragging and dropping them. It's always good to assume you can do the regular computer shit to stuff. So I just made that assumption. I drug it. I achieved everything I wanted to achieve just now. I got the player onto this playing field in the same area of the hierarchy without any dependence on the main camera, and the instructions the AI gave me weren't clear enough. So I have to rely on myself and my own questions and get my answers so that I don't make mistakes. Nothing is going to be done for you at all yet when it comes to using all of these tools. They're just going to help. You still have to think for yourself. And you're still leading essentially a team, but it's a team that is a computer. But it's more powerful than any team you'll ever get. So you might as well just be like, holy shit, I have a team. Holy shit. Because that's what it is. I have a team. By being able to employ these artificial intelligence things. And that does not take any bit of the creativity away from me. And Pirate Software be damned, and all the things he says about AI and how that shouldn't be in games. Good for you. Make your games the way you want to. I'll make my game this way because it's going to be different than anything else. I want to do something original, and I want to do something that just blows the mind. I want the mind blown. Mine. I want to blow my own mind. That's what I want this thing to do. I don't think I'm going to blow my own mind by curating my own storytelling necessarily. I could even do that and then integrate all these other mind-blowing things with it. I could make the story's ending be different every time. I could put these people into this sandbox and I could make events happen to the earth or the world or the thing that they're in, their environment. I can make events happen to it. And the way they interact with those events will be different every time. The way you interact is different every time. And the result is different every time. But still, things happen every time that are just wild. The potential here to have meaningful dialogue and story arc that changes every time are just astronomical as long as they do it the way I tell it to. I need to make sure this game does not go off the rails and it does exactly what I think it needs to do. But within those rails, it's going to be super creative, I hope. Like roguelike, pirate-like. All right, so 2G object. Got that thing in there. There it is. It's sample scene main camera square right under it. Which is actually, I'm going to put it under here. There we go. All right, so I'm going back to step 3 in the Unity section. Okay, so now with the player selected, click. So I need a selector. Scale tool, transform tool, move tool, view tool. Okay, well I've got the player selected here, so it's selected. Reset the position to 0. It is 0, 0, 0. The scale is 1. The scale is going to be now 0.5.51, so I'm going to change the scale. I've made it smaller. I am zooming in a little bit using the mouse wheel. I did not know that's what it did. I just naturally started. I started. The title actually, Audacity right now is called Grasshopper Jar, And I did tell the story about why it's called Grasshopper Jar. So hopefully we'll get the result we're looking for. That's fucking nasty. It's almost lunchtime though. I love being my own boss. Oh, this is gonna be the most awesome life that I build for myself. It really is. I'm very excited. Anyway, so this fucking thing. Let's get a little bit more done, and then I'm gonna come back after lunch. So I'll be out for an hour, and I'll be right back, just like I would any other fucking day. Let's see. Add component. Physics 2D box collider. So we want a collider, and that will put a hitbox around it. You've seen the spike hitboxes in Mario Maker 2. They are atrocious. The reason why they're bad is because someone made a collider that was larger than the actual sprite by pixels. So fuck that. That's what I have to say about that. Add components, physics 2D box. So what do I do? The player selected, click, add components. Where's click, add components? Click it. Why would you add components? Selected. Do I have to right click it? There's no add components. Am I selecting the right thing? There it is. Okay, add component. Click. Okay, all this shit you could put inside an object. Look at all this. This is wild. Oh my god. I can't imagine. When I'm done, maybe I'm just going to employ people to do this so that then, like, why would you not want to do this as your job? 2D and box collider, collision. I want box collider 2D. There it is. Okay. And then I want a rigid body on that thing. So I'm going to add another component. And that component is, again, with the physics. And it's going to be a rigid body 2D. So now I've got these two different colliders and rigid bodies, which are game objects. These game objects are inside this other object, which is here. This is just like a class is. And there is probably very, very good reason to make a C# class to control the attributes here. So start thinking like a programmer a little bit. We're looking at all this stuff, but I want you to see all of these different values here and things are things that you're going to be able to control as the game goes on. So not only do you set them like you have here, but as the game happens, just like the bicycle will change its speed as you pedal it down the road, these things are going to change their values as the game controls the objects that you have within it and the player interacts with your game. So this is good stuff. And the gravity scale I'm going to set to 0. So where's that going to be at? This is top down, so we want it to be 0. And gravity scale is what's going to make things tend to move toward the bottom of the screen in the 2D mode. And this is all customizable, so this angular stuff, you could obviously change the angle, make things upside down like in Mario Maker or whatever. All this looks very customizable. Just keep in mind, these aren't just settings. It's not the same as going to help preferences or whatever the fuck like that. These are manipulatable variables that will each be affecting the game while the game is running at all times, and as long as this object is within the player space. So keep that in mind. Let's make a movement script. So we're going to go ahead and make a component again. And this one's going to be player movement. Player movement. It's still under physics 2D, right? I would assume. New script. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make a script for this. So this doesn't exist. This is not canned. I'm going to have to make this. So this is going to be player movement. I'm going to call it that. All right, I'm going to create that. I'm going to add that. All right, so now I've got this thing. And, oops. I don't know what the fuck that was, but I just made a mistake. This is the light, I think, and I really shouldn't have touched that. Okay, that unfurled this, so that's not that big a deal. Okay, so I have this script now, and it's a CS script. So CS is C sharp. C sharp, lucky me, is kind of what I've been programming in for the last 7 years. So I am very familiar with C sharp. Does that make me want to use Unity a little more? Yeah, it kind of does. So your familiarity with the language is going to give you an advantage. I'm not scared of other languages by any means, and I'm sure we're going to be using some crossover stuff, but especially with the APIs. But this is C sharp, so I should be able to do this. So open the script. So I need to now open this script, and I don't know where it is. So player movement script, this is it. So there it is, and I need to, how do I open it? It's definitely a script. What? I really wish I had Visual Studio right now. All right, where's Notepad++? If I don't have that, it's time to do that. All right, guys, budget friendly people. All right, so there's something called IntelliSense. It is a process that will color code to make it more readable. It does things like turn strings red so that you know what text is being interpreted as a string and not as code. It does things like turn functions blue so that you know that you're executing a lot of code that's being referenced in a different part of the code. It takes things like the it creates different pairings for your parentheticals and your brackets and things like that, and it's a very nice tool to have. If you don't have Visual Studio, and I don't right now have Visual Studio installed here, and I am going to put it on here, and you can actually put fucking Visual Studio on free as well, just like I said with SSIS. And by the end of this day I will, but I want to get this last part done before I go to lunch, and that part is the Notepad++ usage, unfortunately, because I want to get it done fast. So I'm going to install that. I'll show you how it works. Notepad++ is excellent. Notepad++ are with Ukraine. It's always good to know that they are on the non-aggressive side of a conflict. Not that I like conflict, but I prefer the non-aggressive side of every conflict. Generally going to side with them. If people attacked Russia, I'd probably side with the people of Russia at that time. All right, so anyway, here comes Notepad++. Ugh. All right, it's coming in. This excellent software should be on every computer that is a personal computer that's used for development. The advantages of Notepad+ are numerous. You can see page breaks and line feeds. You can read multiple text formats. And like I said, for your code, it will turn it into code that is usable. Or readable, I guess. Readable is the word. Can I drag this script into this Notepad++ from here? I don't know what I'm doing here, guys. So this is going to be new. Yep, I totally can. So take a look. As you can see here, we've got using Unity Engine. This is going to be the declaration portion of your C# script. All of your C# scripts start by referencing any other people's coding language that you need to use that is not straight C# code. So right here, Unity Engine is a huge library of a whole bunch of commands that you get extra because we're using Unity. So if I use any of those commands and you don't do the using Unity Engine and have that DLL file available for C# to use, C# will not execute those commands. All programming languages are like this. They have dependencies on other people's code, and you are on the back of everyone who came before you, and you need to be grateful for them, or I guess you could call them all pieces of shit too. But regardless, you're not where you're at without them, period. Unless you decide to go back to assembly and try to make an alarm clock using a breadboard and shit. Then you can fucking step all over those people. That's fine. Take a big shit on them. I don't give a crap. Oh, we've got two things. Void. Let me tell you what that means. Void means that it's not going to return an argument. So these are things called methods. Methods are programs that execute when you call on them. That's what they are. We call them methods in C#. Call them functions in BASIC. You can call them whatever the fuck you want. You call them happy birthday. I don't give a fuck what you call them. They're methods in C#. That's what the C# people call them. Methods have their type. Void means it returns nothing. So when you run this, does it give you information when it's finished? Or does it not? Does it just do stuff? So the program could move this here, move this here, move this here, done. Does it give any information? No. Then that program is void. Or it could move this here, and move this here, and move this here, and move this here, and then provide the count of operations that just occurred, which is 4, and return that as an integer. That is not a void. That is a different kind of method. The method type is determined by the return data type. If you're returning an image, then the type is going to be binary. If you're returning a number, it's an integer, or it's going to be a floating point number where there's decimal. Depending on if it's a string, it's a string. If it's a true or a false, it's a bit, or a bool in the case of C#. All these are options you have when you make a method. And this part here, this void, most people, when they start coding, they don't know what it means. It's important. You got to know what it means. It means you're not going to return anything when you're done running it. It's just going to do what it does, and that's it. If it's not void, you must return something. So if I put int start there, and I went blah, 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 move all this crap, and I did not teach that program how to return an integer when it's finished, it'll crash and burn. So fuck that. We don't want that. You missed my spelling from all that Nama-sensei lessons. Hey, greetings from Germany. Welcome to the fucking next chapter of my life. It's great to see you. Anyway, we're sitting here in C# right now, and we are talking about methods, and this right here is a void, and this is a void. They're not going to return anything. You can see I've got start and update here. We need to add more to this. So I'm going to add some code to this, and then I'm going to explain how all that code works. Forgive me. All right. Got that public class. All right, here we go. So notice that this class here, do you see this? This is Notepad+'s nice thing it does. You can collapse these bracket groups. The class is defined here at the top. The ownership of this class, I call it ownership. You call it whatever the fuck you want. I teach it this way. So for the rest of your time, if I'm your teacher and you want to learn how to code from me, it's ownership. That's what I call this. The ownership between this parenthesis and this, all of this is owned by public class player movement. And when you collapse it, that's all this is. The only thing that this file does is it defines the class of player movement. Within the class of player movement, within these objects, again, we have these parentheticals, these brackets, defining ownership of these objects. If I click on them, They get smaller and bigger. Now this starts with a default of start and update, but I'm not interested in start and update. I want some movement related things. So we are going to fill start update and fixed update with things, and we're also going to declare variables. Did I make this really hard to read? I sure did. So let's see if we can zoom in before we talk about this code. Notepad might not allow that. I might be able to do font increase. I've never taught in Notepad before. This is a problem. I have to be able to get it bigger. There's got to be a way. Oh, there it is. I found it. Oh, much better. All right. Can't teach without being able to fucking see. Snapper the Twig, what the fuck is up? Thank you for coming back. Welcome to the next chapter of my life. It's good to see you. I am going to be taking everybody on a very long journey. I hope it's not too long. We're going to make a game, and we're going to do a lot of experiments about how games can be made. We're going to do some proof of concept about joining different logic together today. I'm hoping to get through that. I might not get to the end of that today. We are definitely, before lunch, going to have an object that moves around. So that's exciting. So first, public, float. What's the difference between public and private? Public means that the entirety of this class and outside of this class can make use of the variable here that we're declaring. So that's what public means. Private means that only within the ownership that it has been declared can it be used, and outside of it, it cannot. So that's what we're doing here. We've got the float, which is move speed. I told you, just like a bicycle, guys. I already called this shit. I called it. It's right here in front of you. Just like a bicycle, we've got this variable that's going to be always a part of what the object is. It's its movement speed. It's being set to 5F, and you might be wondering, what the fuck does 5F mean? That's hexadecimal. So hexadecimal is a way of counting. Here, I gotta go into it. I'm never gonna I gotta get to lunch. God damn it. Son of a bitch. Guys. I can truly actually take... No, I won't. I gotta take the lunch now. I'm taking the lunch now. I'll be back. I'm gonna be back to explain to you all this shit. I'll tell you about hexadecimal and base 2 and binary and all that shit, and we'll talk about math. And it'll be a good fucking time. So I'll see you in an hour.